Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on solving international address data challenges, hosted by Anchor Software and Loqate. My name is Cindy Prado from Anchor, and my co-host will be Dominic Kimball. So if you have any questions during today's webinar, if you'll type them in the chat window, we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me start off by telling you a little bit about Anchor Software. Anchor Software was founded in 1998. Today, this year, we're celebrating our 20th year anniversary. We provide software solutions for data quality, postal compliance, mail processing, and document design. We actively engage in shaping our industry through the participation and leadership in MTAC, ID Alliance, AMI, Postcom, and other numerous PCCs. We're an integrated service vendor with Loqate since 2013, providing worldwide address data quality and geocoding using Anchor's Address Pro technology. This technology is available to you via batch, real-time, on-premise, or in the cloud. So now that I've told you about Anchor Software, let me tell you a little bit about my co-host, Dominic Kimball. Dominic Kimball is head of product at Loqate. He leads the location and intelligence business unit at Loqate. He is an address data expert with a decade of leadership experience in the address management industry. He played a central role in building Loqate's product since its inception. On the lighter side, he enjoys the great outdoors, watching sports, and inventing the next culinary experience. So now that I've told you a little bit about Dominic, I'm going to let Dominic tell you a little bit about Loqate.
Great, thank you, Cindy, and thank you for inviting me to present today to your customers. I'd like to start with a short introduction about Loqate, about who we are. We've been established for, I guess, nearly 10 years now. So we were founded in 2009 in Silicon Valley by a team of location data experts, veterans to the address management world, who between them boast probably more than 60 years of experience with address data. Our product was built as a global solution from day one and provided a back-end address data management engine that could identify, could standardize, could enhance customer data in any data quality or MDM environment or application. In 2015, following a period of sustained growth, Loqate were acquired by GBG PLC, who are a UK-based firm specializing in identity verification. And then 2 years later, so just earlier last year, GBG added PCA Predict to the Loqate portfolio. This expanded our services and our technology, bringing an intelligent address search functionality to our product line. So moving into the presentation today, during many years working in the industry, over 10 now, it's interesting to see how customers react when a seemingly simple requirement, such as validating an address, becomes a complex global challenge. And all too often, many of the people we talk to are unaware of the standards, the structures, the formats of even domestic or regional address formats. And then when multiple systems and applications are combined as part of a global strategy, be that consolidation of databases or growth into new markets, it becomes a real headache. From the slide you see there, there's nearly 250 countries and territories worldwide. That's a lot of address data. Some have postal authorities, some do not. Some have postal code systems. I believe there are around 50, maybe a few more countries that don't even use postcodes, that includes even more, includes some developed countries such as, I think it's Hong Kong, Qatar, and UAE as three examples. You then have to consider localization. So multiple languages and scripts, a lot of languages, a lot of kind of regional languages as well. For example, Japan's a good one we use. It's possible to have address data written in 3 or 4 different scripts using both Latin and non-Latin formats. There's also cultural differences, which may exist by neighborhood or even regionally within a country. For a good example, again, is small towns in Ireland. Regardless of a new postcode system that they brought in a couple of years ago, the local postman knows what to do if an envelope reads behind the bakery and through the gate. So completely non-standard. A lot of these pain points are immediately realized when we look at a few statistics from a recent report we created with Forrester that looked into the impact of address and location data on organizations. And although it's unsurprising to see companies comment on the poor quality of their customer address data, we've seen that a lot over the years. It is very surprising to see, such a high number. So 81% really opened our eyes when we first saw this report. And then when you add the feedback from the other 2 questions about disconnected and mixed processes, I can only think about the impact of this data downstream. So failed deliveries, inconsistent customer service, ineffective marketing campaigns, poor business decisions, miscalculations around risk, or even fraud, just to name a few. And poor quality, inaccurate, incomplete, or incorrect data has a massive knock-on effect. And this statistic confirms just this, where we ask, or Forrester asked companies, how bad is the data? What is the impact? And they say that poor quality hinders their ability to really make use and find value in their customer data. And even with the continued shift into digital and data, companies still hit a barrier because of this poor data quality. And the same goes for growth into both regional and global markets. And we also talk about awareness being one of our kind of challenges. An interesting stat alongside this one in the report says that nearly half of organizations lack the understanding of how to use location data management or appreciate the scale and complexity of it. So I've talked about some of the problems and the pain points that we're experiencing with location and address data. You're probably asking, why does a good address even matter? And I raised 2 broad use cases here, very important ones and very, very big ones: e-commerce, online trade, e-commerce, and data quality, which could include MDM or master data management. These are under the spotlight as both will interact with and rely on location and address data pretty much all the time. But it doesn't stop there. A number of reports and articles, maybe a little old now, but from the geospatial industry suggest that of all data in the world, there's 80% of it has location components or location elements, which is mainly tweaking now to update the stat, but is still impressive and really kind of highlights the importance of it in data. Marketing, logistics, insurance, healthcare are just a few other examples of industries and verticals that this will relate to. And we've talked a little bit about growth globally and globalization. The growth of e-commerce and payment technologies creates new opportunities to enter new and diverse markets with products and services. The commercial potential this generates is somewhat balanced by the increased risk of fraud and other threats such as identity theft, and also a challenge on logistics as well. If you're selling products into across the globe, for instance. Onto personalization, the key themes being compliance, customer engagement, and user experience. These are all high profile themes where data and customer data are concerned. And this really boils down to building trust with customer data and building trust with customers directly, and adding confidence with the customer data and location data. The third point there around regionalization, I think this is, as businesses become more organized and efficient, they will look to build regional footprints or service centers rather than rely on in-country expertise. And I like to emphasize the flip side of that, which is the localization part, but this has to be served in the context of a regional or global solution. Another stat from the report, and for so many organizations to describe location intelligence as important, critical, or extremely critical, this really helps amplify the message that businesses have started to, or they're already recognizing both the challenge and the opportunity of location data. And from this, we hope that businesses are ready to start developing and executing new strategies that are focused on the future security, success of unlocking the potential of their customer location data. I'm going to change gear a little bit to explain some of our applications and processes. And to lead into this, I will talk about how we deliver address verification in our propositions. So we have a front end and back end. And firstly, with the front end, this is where user experience meets accurate data entry. The front end application will involve the collection of data interactively. This could be a shopping cart, a call center, or any other operator-led system, basically where there's a human being in front of a screen that needs to enter information into a form. The benefits to the user, an online form that helps you fill it in is a simple but very important benefit. I've always hated forms. I hate them even more now. I think the shift from with auto suggest and type ahead technology kind of dictating how we use the internet. There's a growing expectation that we don't have to use forms or fill them in anymore. Death of the keyboard has also been suggested in recent articles and through various opinions in the market. Another benefit to the user, they're getting the confidence that the address that they're entering is valid, is correct, is complete, and standardized. And that it will be stored, or hopefully stored correctly. So this is the compliance piece. It's also the piece there where the user is confident that the address is going to be used correctly downstream. So if it's a checkout on a shopping cart, a correct address, I have the added confidence that I'm going to have that package or item delivered correctly. On the flip side, the benefits to the organization, clean, accurate data going into the application or into the business. In a delivery scenario, you save money on return deliveries. In business intelligence, it's added confidence in decision making or analytics. In risk management, it's arriving to a more accurate outcome. There's a good example with one of our insurance companies a few years back doing risk assessment on a lot of the claims from, I think it was Hurricane Sandy on the east coast of the United States, where the verification and geocoding processes that we provided helped adjust and correct a lot of the risk management and risk assessment projects that were running at the time. Moving to the back end, I mean, we've covered a couple of the benefits to the organization. They're fairly similar in terms of good data going in, storing good data moving forwards, and I think it's really important that we look at these together. These the front end and back end application work hand in hand. So it's not just getting good data in and leaving it, it's about the maintenance and the frequent updates of that processing. It builds a consistent ecosystem of customer data. As data can move and be migrated and be used for different things, it's important that both of these exist in the same place. An interesting stat before I move on, again, just highlighting the impact of bad or poor quality data. And this is from the Harvard Business Review. And from an IBM study, they estimate the yearly cost of poor quality data. And in the US alone, they estimate the cost being $3.1 trillion. And this study's back in 2016, which is staggering. Also from the Harvard Business Review, they suggest that fixing dirty data or incomplete data or inaccurate data costs 10 times more than the cost of acquiring it in the first place. So again, some eyebrow-raising stats there to digest on the back of this. And when talking about what address verification does, I like to summarize the requirements by asking customers, I mean, how do you make your customer data trustworthy? How do you make it valuable? How do you clean? How do you enhance addresses? How do you resolve conflicts and deduplication? And what's the strategy moving forwards? And a lot of the benefits of address verification kind of respond to these issues fairly directly. Correcting, verifying, matching to verified reference data sets, assistance in the removal of duplicates. The single customer view is a phrase that I came across many years ago, and businesses were trying to achieve a single customer view or a golden record. I still see customers trying to do that, so it's a problem that doesn't go away. We haven't talked much about the enhancement side of address verification, so there's a further benefit to verification with the addition of enrichment data such as geocode, so digital latitude and longitude, or transliteration, where we're moving or transforming Latin scripts into more local or regional character scripts, and also beyond this, with the Loqate solution, we provide certified data sets. So CAS for the US, AMAS for Australia, CERP for Canada, and this enhances an address by adding a wealth of more fields that deal with deliverability, such as delivery indicators, business versus residential, DPID, which is like a barcode or a unique reference in the Australia data sets. We're also looking to, or we've started building new data sets just so that we can untap more information around an address, so more geodemographic data, census data, among other things that we're exploring, geospatial data, to really tap into this opportunity that customers are using more and more location data. And just to take it one level deeper, just to summarize the technical aspects of our functionality. So when we validate an address, we are doing more than just matching a string to another. To start with, we have our architecture, which is a huge set of reference data which we curate from many sources to build what we like to call a golden record, or the single source of truth. And we wrap around that a growing set of intelligent knowledge-based rules, which help with the first stage in the functionality, which is the parsing process. So we take unstructured, mixed up data, mixed field data into the parsing process, and we use a wide range of contextual rules to identify the likely components that they'll fall into. So for instance, a premise number would get identified as a premise number, a street name into the street field. With this information, we pass into the match process or the validation process, and this is where we unlock the reference data, and we say, is this a real record or not? Is this valid? And at this stage, we'll add corrections, or we'll add missing data. We'll perform corrections. We'll make decisions based on a number of different workflows and methods within that process. The final stage, a little bit out of order, but transliteration and formatting. So I mentioned before around the conversion of Latin into native scripts. Loqate support 8 native scripts to and from Latin, including Cyrillic, Hellenic, Hangul, and a few others. We also provide the correct format for the output address. So this matches the postal format directed by the local postal authority of the respected country. We return this in addition to all of the component fields. So we're kind of building a full address profile that can have many uses, be stored in different ways, etc. We mentioned geocoding as kind of the enhancement piece, which happens after validation. Something not mentioned here is report codes. So this entire process, and very applicable certainly to the back-end batch processing side, is the ability to make decisions based on the processing that is done on or during address validation. So how good was the data going in? What did the engine do to it, and how good is the data coming out? And then, you know, a workflow or a business decision can be made confidently based on the outcome because of the report codes. I'd like to, this is my final slide, and with this I'd like to summarize a few observations from the Forrester report, and certainly in their conclusions. And as businesses, location intelligence is contributing value across an increasing range of business areas and functions. And as businesses adopt and continue to mature with location intelligence practices, there are a few considerations there, or 3 considerations they highlight. The first being to listen to customers. Part of this is around compliance. A lot of people, well, everyone should have heard of GDPR, and probably thinking about, you know, how is that going to impact future compliance strategies, and how to store customer data and use customer data responsibly. The second is about finding the right partners and the right vendors to engage in location data management. And it doesn't have to be location intelligence or location data. A strategy doesn't have to be a long-term transformation project. Finding the right vendors to ensure that accuracy, quality, and the cleanliness of data can be a short-term measure as well, just to help companies and businesses accelerate into new fields and new disciplines. The final point here is around real time. And this is really interesting because the address has always been kind of the center of the universe. I mean, to locate a customer, an address is very important. It will remain to be very important. But we can certainly see in the market a shift from this single address into more, you know, where is the person. So a lot of the shift is moving into the device, and location can be shared real time and acted upon instantly. So again, it comes down to accuracy and quality of that data, so that a good customer experience can be delivered, and maximum value can be generated through that data and from the customer. That brings everything I have to say to a close. So I'd like to thank you again for inviting me onto this panel. Cindy, back to you.
Well, thanks, Dominic, and great job telling us all about Loqate, and it was very informative. I want to thank everybody for attending today's webinar, and a special thank you for attending Today's webinar, we're offering you a complimentary sample run of up to 10,000 names and address records, after which we'll share the results with you along with the reports. From there, you'll receive a 30% discount on your first production run you do with us. So that being said, let me go ahead and pose some of the questions that were asked during the webinar. So the first question is, how do you curate your global address data, and why is it the best? Dominic, I'm going to let you handle that.
Yeah, thank you, Cindy, and that's a very, very good question, and one we enjoy answering. So we have many data sources that feed into our reference data, and we go across the globe. We've got a very large dedicated team that scans new sources, new suppliers, looks at the latest data that's being created or curated, and we try and go and get it. We build our references from a variety of different types of supplier. So that might be a postal authority. Not all postal authorities provide good data. That's something to be noted. Some countries don't have good postal authority or official or formal postal authorities either. So against that, we have other regional or in-country data suppliers. Some of these will be geospatial providers or local, postal enrichment services as well. So aside to the regional suppliers, we'll then look at global or macro level suppliers. Again, this could be address data or geospatial data. So we combine all these sources into a single data set for each country. And our unique selling point here is that we bake together lots of different sources to find that golden record. We're kind of performing MDM on address data. We've built our own systems and tools in-house to be able to do that. And as far as we know, and when you look at the address validation or location intelligence validation market, no one else is pulling together multiple sources. A lot of alternative providers will be using single source data.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question. How do you deploy your service?
Yep, so another good question. In a multitude of ways. we serve all of our products through a single easy-to-use API. There's a little difference where we've introduced this address search technology into the front end, which is very much reliant on scalability and reliability. So that service is hosted in the cloud. That's important so that we can keep data fresh through that service, but also optimize the customer experience. So latency, response times, that's why it sits there. The back end or the batch processing again can be deployed in a few different ways through local install. Certainly a popular one for our partners is to OEM our services and acts as a component as part of their own products. So whether that's data quality or MDM, they're both two very popular use cases for our services. And the back-end processing is also available as a private cloud, so available transactionally, and also through the cloud as well. So we're seeing a growing need of big enterprises and partners finally getting to that point where they can confidently go, okay, I'm going to move into the cloud, and that becomes more and more important for us.
Okay, Dominic, next question. What products do you offer other than address verification and geocoding?
Yeah, so again, since we brought in PCA Predict into the Loqate family last year, they bring a few other, again, more customer-related validation services. So our world is very much address and location validation and enrichment around that, and we'll continue to grow that, and that is our universe. However, there are a few other services that we're starting to bring into the main proposition. So when we're talking about front end and the checkout experience for customers, email validation is very important. So we provide that service. We also have bank account validation as a web service as well. So there's a few different areas where we're looking at the checkout experience, looking at different areas of how users interact on the internet, not just during the checkout, and seeing how we can improve that experience while kind of building value for both that customer and the business.
Okay, Dominic, thank you for all that great information, and I'm sure that all of our customers appreciate that. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining today's webinar, and I hope it was very informative for you as well as it was informative for us also. If you have any questions, feel free to visit our website at www.anchorcomputersoftware, and everybody have a great day. Thank you.